because I want to go through the page course to let you guys know what we're going to be doing. Now, I always forget to ask, can you guys hear me? And
Yes.
okay, it's good to know because the reason why I asked, because one time I remember I was talking and talking and talking, and then after like a few minutes, I got a message for someone. He's asking me when will the class start. Anyway, so I need to check. So here we go. Um, we have this is again the week where we have the exam, and this is chapter 10, which we're supposed to cover this week. Um, I really regret not covering this chapter before the exam. This chapter is extremely short, and we should not dedicate a whole chapter, oh sorry, a whole class for it. At the same time, chapter 11 is a very long one, as you can see here. So this one will definitely need a whole week. So what I'm going to do today, I'm simply going to start with this chapter and get it over. And then after that, I'm going to move to the second chapter. This chapter is really easy. And then we'll start with the second chapter. And now, as we go through the second chapter, we'll see how far we can go within that chapter. And after that, once we're done with the class of today, of course, I'm going to let you guys know what will be your assignment. Now, based on my knowledge, I believe next week is going to be the spring break. So there will be no class. I'm not going to give you guys due dates like where you're going to have to work in the spring break. I'll give you guys extra time because the last thing you want to do is to worry about homeworks when you're having a break. So let's start with the first chapter. Chapter 10, sorry. Chapter 10 is called Working with Editors. Now, why is working with editors is simply will reserve a whole chapter because the next chapter is basically we're going to be talking about scripting. And to be able to write a script, you need to know how to use the editor. And for that reason, we do have a whole chapter dedicated to talk about editors. So with that being said, now let's move on and talk about editors. Now, I do already have myself connected to the server. And by the way, just in case you want to play with Linux and you don't feel like going through the server and the VPN every time you want to do that, you can totally have a Linux operating system running at the top of your PC or your Mac if you want to. So you can have two operating systems and you can switch between them just like how you switch between applications. That's all because of the technology that's called virtualization. So if you want to do that, again, go ahead and do it because it's really fun to have two operating systems in one machine. Anyway, so let's get back here. Text editors. We need to know how do we write a text using Linux because, again, we're going to be writing scripts. We're going to try to do some automation process, and we're going to learn how to get those done. And all of that, again, of course, is going to be done using a text editor. Now, Linux comes with many text editors. There's the VI and there's the VIM or Vim. VI is a Unix version text editor. VIM is a Linux GNU version of GNU, sorry, version of VI. And also we have the Nano. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump straight to the Nano because it's simple, it's easy, it's not that complicated. And then I'm going to go back to the Vim. To create a text, to start with that, you're going to have to type touch. And then tell me the text. I'm going to call it read me. Okay, now if I go list, you'll see that readme is somewhere. Here it is. If I go ls-l, we can see readme, it's here. And I can read and I can write to it as the owner of it, but I cannot execute it. So if I want to execute it, I need to go and change the permission for that. But again, this is just editing text. So if I want to go ahead and edit that text, I can just type nano and then readme. Of course, make sure you write the exact same. Now we got README. Now here it is. This is a test. I am writing. Say I am using Nano. This is the end. Goodbye. Bye. So here it is. That's pretty much it. Now, unlike text editors that you have in Windows, you are really, really limited with what you can do here. Okay. And I created the text. I can erase lines. I can type lines. But that's pretty much it. And at the bottom here, you can see that you do have some options if you want to. For example, if I want to exit, Control X, of course, I'm using Windows, Linux, sorry, Mac. So I don't know what's going to be your version. And he's going to ask you, since you changed something about this text editor, and that change is simply stored in a memory location called the buffer, do you want to save your work? You can type Y for yes, N for no, cancel to go back. I want to save. And then I should be done. Now, if I go cat, README, you'll see that it showed me exactly what the text was there. And that's the Nano. And as I said, Nano is very, very limited with what you can do with it. But at the same time, it's simple. Okay, it's not that complicated. And this is one of the reasons that I sometimes prefer using the Nano. But of course, it comes with few options that you can utilize if you want to. And when you open Nano, just like I did here, and if I go README, at the bottom here, you can justify, for example, Command J can now justify, unjustify. And you can see here, look what just happened. They all move to be a single line. Of course, if I want to put it back the way it was, move with the cursor and push them back. Then goodbye. Okay. So again, here we go. This is it. You can move to pages if the text is way too big, and so on. Okay. So again, you can navigate through those options and have a look at them and see.
Can you apply one more time, please?
I'm using Mac, so it's Control X. I think it's, I don't know which Windows was what the window is going to be, but I just clicked on pressed on Control J.
Control J. Okay. Yeah, I have my Mac. Yeah.
Okay, that's simply what I did. And again, Control and all these letters, and it's going to tell you what are the options that are available. So let me just Control X here. Are you sure you want to save? Yes, I want to save it. And if I go back and show you the cat of it, and now we see it in a single line. Now, this is not what this chapter is all about. This chapter is all about using the Vim, V-I-M. So I'm going to go and use the same file, README. The first thing you're going to notice is that this file looks a little bit different. Now, what you need to understand about Vim, Vim comes with many modes, okay? And every mode, you can get something done. So you need to know what you want to do, and you want to know in what mode you are going to go and do that. This is the normal mode that you start with. And the normal mode, well, there are not that much that you can get done with the normal mode. But it's the mode that's simply going to start at the beginning. You can navigate through the text with the arrows. You can see here, but you cannot modify and do and change anything with the normal mode. You can navigate, you can go page up, page down, just for the purpose of reading. You can use the H and the G, J and the K and the L to move right, left. Those are the keys that you can use. I'm currently pressing on L, moving to the right. And if I want to go to the left.
With Control?
L, the letter L.
No, apply with Control, right?
No, just the letter L.
Okay, thank you.
Again, use the arrows if you don't like to use the characters, but I'm just showing you that those are the options that you have. You can go up, you can go down, you can go left, you can go right. But as you can see, this is again what you can do simply with the normal mode. Now, when it comes to inserting and manipulating your text, you have to go in a mode called insert mode. Insert mode, simply you can switch from the normal mode to the insert mode by pressing the key I. And immediately after you press the key I, you'll see that it's going to show you insert at the bottom left corner. Now, if I want to actually change anything, I can start doing that here. This is using this. I'm using nano. This is the and. Goodbye. If I want to type anything here, this is a script file. It's simply doing nothing. And you can see here that you can just type whatever you want to type. You can erase whatever you want to erase. I will go back here, for example, take the goodbye away, and so on. So whenever you want to manipulate the text itself, you have to be in the insert mode. And when you're in the insert mode, everything you type is going to be simply added to the file. You can erase from the file. You can move up, move down, move left, move right, using the arrows, just like how any other text files editors that you may use. Now, after you're done with the insert mode, to get out of the insert mode and move back to the normal mode, you have to press the escape button in your keyboard, and now you're back into the normal mode. I'm going to try to type something, and I'm trying to type, and it didn't accept anything until I typed I, and then I start being able to type. So let me just go back here to the normal mode. I'm going to try to print the letter C. Oh, wait a minute. It moved me to the insert mode again. Let me try with the F. Nope, let me get out. Yep, here it is. This is me typing the letter F, but it's not letting me because I'm in the normal mode. So normal mode is simply what you're going to start with. And then if you want to move to the insert mode, you press on I. In the insert mode, you just simply can write, you can type, you can manipulate the text that you have there. To get out of the insert mode and go back to your normal mode, all you have to do is just press the escape, and then you're back to the normal mode. Okay, now, what can you do with the normal mode? If you go to the PowerPoint, it will show you that there are some commands, some letters, and that you can actually use to go. But usually, again, with the normal mode, we don't do that much. There is little limited type of operation that you can do. Now, one of the most important feature in the Vim operation is that you can, let's see here. Before I get to that part, you can copy and you can paste using the normal mode. But again, I have to go to the virtual mode to be able to explain that for you. So let's just keep it to this point. But here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do to show you some feature here. I'm going to try to remove, let me go to the insert mode. And I'm going to remove this line here. And I'm going to go to the bottom here. So I removed that line. Now, that part that I removed is simply going to be stored inside the buffer. And then whenever I want to get it back, I have to go back to the normal mode. And I think I have to press not double D, sorry. I think it's X. No. X is removing it. I'm trying to remember what, oh, the P. Let me go back here. No. Oh, here. Yes, look at what's doing. Because the last letter that I deleted was S, every time I press P, he's going to actually type S again. Let me go back here. Let me try to delete it. Oh, no. What did I do to delete? Let me go ahead and go back to the insert mode and try to delete this whole thing. Now, if I escape it and press P, It's still S. Sorry, it doesn't take it from the other mode. Anyway, that's not the big deal. Let me just get back to my point here. I'm going to go back to the insert mode. And let me take all this out. And let me create a text file here. I will just call, for example, CIS 204. This is Linux. CIS 200, Java. CIS 205, C++. This is a text. And let me just skip that point. Okay, so let's get back here. I have this text here, and we know that we have the normal mode, we have the insert mode, we have another mode. It's called the search mode. Let me see here. Saving, searching mode, yes. To get into the search mode, you have to press this / button here. And then after that, you type the word that you're searching for. In this case, is going to be, for example, CIS. Press enter, and you will see that CIS simply is going to be highlighted. Let's get back. And by pressing enter, it's simply going to take you here. Let me go back and look for another thing. For example, C++. And here it is. It's highlighting. So if you have a text file and that text file is way too big, you can search for whatever you want by typing / and the word that you're looking for is simply going to highlight it. And by pressing enter, it's going to take you to all the places that that file simply, that word, sorry, was located at. So this is how we actually do a search. We still have another mode. This is search mode. We have a mode where you can, my bad. You can, it's called the virtual mode, where you can do select. And when you select, you can copy. Okay. And I'm going to get to that point, of course, in a sec. To get to the select mode, you simply have to, sorry, the virtual mode, you have to press the letter V. And once you are in the V mode, you will see here that as I'm moving the cursor left and right, it's simply selecting everything that I am moving through. So, for example, I just want to select the C++. Okay. Now, if you want to cut it, you can cut it by pressing D. It will cut it from here. And if you want to copy it, you press Y. So let me just copy it. Now that I copied it, after that, by the way, after you copy or cut it, you're going to be out of the what they call the virtual mode, and then after that, you can paste it. And to paste it, let's see if this is how it works. No, I tried it the other day and it worked. So let's see here. How do we paste? I think it was P. No. Maybe I have to put. We have the command mode. Also, this is again. I'll be honest. Like this is not my favorite text editor. It has a lot of complications, and they get all together mixed up. So here do I. Yeah, it's supposed to be P, but that's not the case. Let me see here. You get the virtual mode, you can cut it. When you press D, you can copy it. When you press Y, but how do you paste it? This is the part that I'm trying to remember. No. No. I'm pretty sure I tried it the other day and it worked. So I'm not sure if I have it copied or not. Let me go back and try to copy something else. I'm going to get to the virtual mode again. Let me highlight the text and let me cut it this time. So instead of pressing Y, I'm going to press D. And you can see that now I cut it. If I want to paste it, I think I should leave the virtual mode, which I am. Let me see here. Do I have chat? No. To paste it again, I'm supposed to be in the normal mode. And I'm supposed to press a button to be able to paste it, and that button again. It's P. Here we go. Yes, I knew it. It's P. So I don't know why previously it didn't take it, but now it's P. Yeah, you have to be back. You have to be back in the normal mode and press P, and then whatever you have copied or cut is simply going to be pasted there. So as you can see here, how easy utilizing and using the mouse is. But when you don't have mouse in this operating system, you have to find an alternative way. And now with the Vim, they simply have multiple modes, and each one of those modes again is important to understand how do they work. And sometimes if your task, a simple task, could be implemented and completed using those multiple modes. So in the virtual mode, you do your copy or your cut, and then in the normal mode, you do the paste. And in the insert mode, you do the text editing if that's possible. Also, as I said, we have the search mode. The search mode, you just backslash and you search for something. I'm searching for 204, and here it is. Let's go ahead and search for something else. I will go with Java. And here it is, highlighted. So this is how we search. Okay, so we learned how do we search. We learned how do we copy and select. We learned how do we pass. And we still have one very, very important operation that we can implement with the using the Vim search, text editor is substitute, where you can substitute a word with a word, or substitute the word that in the whole text with another word or single line. To do so, and let me just make sure I get this right. You start with the colon, and then I think the $sign, $, with the $S. Let me start with the S, and then you put the word that you want to replace, for example, 2000, and I want to replace it with, 200 with 2000. And look what just happened. The 200 became 2000. Okay. Let's say I want to do something else. Colon. And by the way, whenever you tap the colon, you are moving into another mode. It's called the command mode. So let me state the commands. The modes. We have the normal mode, we have the insertion mode, we have the search mode, we have the virtual mode, and now we have the command mode. And the command mode, you have to start with the colon. And then if I want to substitute, I will start with S. And then the word I want to substitute, for example, I want to substitute the word CIS with uppercases. And you can see here, the first appearance happened and it was changed only. How do I change them all? Let me show you here. If I go back, colon S, and then I'll say CIS, and the CIS, and I think I have to put G here. No, not G. G has to be included for global. Let me look for that really, really fast. I don't think if it was, yep. I found it. One sec. I have to type again. S, CIS uppercase, and then G. Well, that didn't change at all. Just changed the last one. Oh yeah, I think that happened because the crosshair has to be at the top, maybe. Let me go back to the insert mode. And let me just put them all back to be CIS 200. And I'll go here, CIS 200. Let me get out. Let me go ahead, \S, CIS, \G. Oh, that just changed the last one. Okay, so to do it globally, okay, now I realized how to get it done. Let me just restart. S, CIS, G, but I have to start with the $sign here at the beginning. I knew it, sorry, a %. And you can see here now, all of them are changed to CIS. Okay, so this is pretty much everything you need to know about the text editors. And if I want to just summarize, the last part I forgot. Sorry. How do I get out of the Vim? Well, you have to be in the command mode, and then you have to type write and quit. So you want to save your work and you want to quit at the same time, and that's how it's done. So let's go ahead and cat readme, and you'll see those are the texts that are available in that file. So let me just summarize what I just said so far. We have two text editors in the Linux version that we're using. We have the Nano, very simple, not that much of options. We have the Vim. The Vim works in many modes. Let me list them here. The normal mode, which is the one that we're going to start with. Insert mode, you reach it by pressing I, and you leave it by pressing escape. And then in the insert mode, this is where you can manipulate the text. Writing a text, erasing, that's what you can do. If you want to select any piece of the text, then you have to be in the virtual mode. You reach the virtual mode by pressing V. After you reach, you get it to the V, wherever the cursor is, if you go backward, forward, up and down, you're simply going to be selecting the text. By pressing D, you're simply going to be cutting it. By pressing Y, you're simply going to copy it. And once you copy it or cut it, and you press enter, you're simply going to leave the virtual mode. You go back to the command mode. In the command mode, if you press P, you're going to paste whatever you copied or cut from the virtual mode. Now, if you want to search, we said you go just type \, and then you put the word that you're searching for. Very straightforward. If you want to replace, you have to be, replace a substring, replace a string with a string. You have to be in the what we call the command mode. And in the command mode, by the way, this is not everything about this text editor. There's a lot more. But those are the basics that we need at this point. So for the for the command mode, whenever you want to substitute a text with a text, all you have to do is just press colon. That's going to get you in the command mode. And from there, you type S and then \, whatever the word you have, \, whatever the word you want to replace it with. And of course, you can replace globally the whole document. For every existence of the word you want it to be replaced, you have to just use the % at the beginning of the S. And whenever you want to quit and save your work, colon WQ, W for write, Q for quit, press enter, and you're saved. Your work is saved there. So this is what this chapter is all about. It's a good idea to practice and get used to use those browsers. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go back to my text editor. Let me just open my text, sorry, not text editor, the course page. So you see the course page right now. Let me get back to the course class. This is the assignment for this chapter. It's an easy 15 points. I'm going to change the due date later, maybe. I'll change the due date later. Here's what you need to understand. And I noticed this. When you work on these assignments, all you have to do is to get yourself connected to the server, get to the terminal of your account, and use your account with the server to answer all these questions. It's really, really easy. This is not a quiz like you have to memorize. I'm not here testing your memorization. Those are not quizzes, and if you want to think about them, those are simply a way that will let you practice what you learn from this chapter. So when you see a question, you're not supposed to just answer it. You're supposed to have your terminal open, your account open, and simply do whatever he wants you to do and answer those questions. Because when I do the grading for those chapters, I notice a lot of mistakes, but I can guarantee you those mistakes, you will not make them. And this is not for everybody. Like some of you guys may do this type of mistakes, but if you actually go and open the terminal and answer the questions using the terminal, using your account with the server, you should get the 15 points with no issues. Now, of course, sometimes you may get the job done in a different way. And I check it either way. Like every time, even your mistakes, I go and check them just to make sure that you got the job done, but in a different way that's different than what the quiz is designed to do. So I go again and give you guys the credit for that. But that's the point that I'm trying to tell you guys about here. Is that simply again to score the max out of these projects, all you have to do is simply go and open the terminal, get connected to your server, and answer the questions using the terminal. Now, we are done with this chapter. And as I said, this is going to be a very, very short chapter. Now, the second chapter is not going to be as simple as this one, or it's not going to be as fast as this one, but it's going to be fun. I can guarantee that for you. So before I continue, if you have any questions, let me know. If you don't, I'm just gonna go grab a glass of water and I'll be back. So
Yeah, I have a question.
go ahead.
So every time is the control with the P and what you did in previous every time
Oh,
print out,
okay.
right?
Not necessary. Like I press the control.
With
Let's see here.
P.
No. The only time I press control is with the nano.
No, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
every time I gotta press this one, what I before I did it everything that comes up, you know.
Again, I'll tell you here. Nano, you need to press control, but with Vim, you don't need to press control.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, let me just go grab a glass of water and I'll be back. Okay, I am back. So let's go ahead and get back to our terminal. And let me clear my window. And let's start. In this chapter, we're going to talk about scripting. Okay. What is a scripting? Scripting, in general, it's a file that you can write your commands inside it, and then with a single command or a single line of statement, you can run all the commands and all the instructions inside that file. That's what scripts are all about. If you want to think about it, it's more like writing a program in a programming language. And you're just going to put all the text for the program in a text file, and then that text file is simply going to be compiled, and then it's going to be executed. Now, this is going to be a little bit different. All the commands that we learned, how do we do, and how do we create, and how do we run, we can put them in a text file, and then we can run them with one press of an enter button. And this is very, very important because in a lot of cases, like you find yourself repeatedly doing some operations, and instead of keep typing them, you can put them in a single file and then just run that file. That's what scripting is all about. But before we get to that point, we talked about something before, and we said that we can run multiple commands using something called command list. And a command list, for example, if I type date, semicolon, who, semicolon, what else do I want to do? PWD. those three commands, I wrote them and I separated with the semicolon. And if I press enter, you can see here, they're going to be executed one after the other. So this is the execution of date. This is the execution of who, and this is the execution of PWD. Okay. So this is again something we talked about. Now that simply means I can actually write multiple commands in a single line, and it's simply going to be execute them all by pressing enter. Now, what are the limitations of this technique that I showed you here? The main limitation is the size, that you can only have 255 characters within that line that I just typed there. So that would be number one. Number two, every time I have to do the same thing, I have to go through the history, or maybe I have to retype it again. Now, again, this is very simple, just 3 commands, so it's not a big deal. But what if I have 500 commands? Of course, again, because of the limitation of the number of characters, this is not going to be a good idea. Instead of this, as I said, we can simply have a text file. In that text file, we type those commands. And then after that, we run them with no issues, with no problems. And this is what scripting is all about. And again, I can put them in like, instead of having all these commands like in a single line, I can put them in, of course, each command in a separated line, and it will be more efficient. Reusability is at the best level, and that's pretty much it. So the question is, how do we create those script files? So let me just show you something that I already created here. If you go to my account, my folder, my home folder, and let me look for it. I think I called it my script. If I do type cat my script, this is, by the way, a summarization for what this chapter is all about. Okay, so you can have a look at it later. But at this point, let's go ahead and create a script file, and let's start writing the commands in that script file. In my script file, I'm going to call it, for example, first time. So touch. Let me just make sure that I keep the chat box open just in case anybody have a question. I can see it. So here we go. Touch first time. Okay. Now I have a file. It's called first time. Now if I go Vim first time, and here we go, it's empty. Now it's extremely important to not forget about this, but you have to start your script file in Linux with the following line. Wait a minute. I have to be in the insert mode, of course. Come on, insert mode. And then backslash bin backslash bash. Now, just to let you know that this will work if your default shell is bash. And this line, simply you're telling that whatever commands you're going to see and you're going to find in this file simply will be executed using the bash shell. If your Linux is not run based on bash shell, then you're going to have to change bash to whatever the shell that you're using. Okay, so this is again my first line that you have to type. Number 2, we can add comments in a bash file, in a script file. Comments usually are text that are going to be ignored when the file is going to be executed. And we use comments again for descriptions, for documentation, for explanation. We know that the text that you're going to type as a comment is going to be ignored by the bash, by the shell. So feel free to type anything. I'm going to go here, typing my name, typing the date. Or, you know what, let me just take this away. And then after that, I will go and type, for example, JCCC. Now remember here, this is just a comment, and it's simply going to be ignored by the shell. Now, the two commands or the three commands that we try to run, we'll go with date, which is supposed to print the date value, the date information. And then after that, I said who. And then after that, I said PWD. Now, let's keep it this way. So we got those three commands. And we have a comment, and simply that will be it. So if I leave the insert mode, move to the command mode, save my work, and quit, now I have my file first time there. So if I go cat first time, you'll see it here. Now the question is, after I wrote and I saved my work, how do I run it? Well, let's try type first time. Make sure that you spell it correct. And he told me, like, I have no idea what is first time. Well, it's not known by the bash because, again, bash, usually every time you write a command, bash will go to the path file. And in the path file, it's going to look for a command called first time. And since that command doesn't exist in that path file, it's simply going to tell you, I have no idea what is first time. So if that's the case, how do we solve this problem? Well, there's a solution. We learned that from the last week. We said we simply can add the location of this file to the path file. Okay, we learned last class that you can update the path file and adding extra absolute values there. But the problem is with that, it's a kind of operation that's not recommended to do. You don't want to manipulate and change your path file that frequently. You want to keep it as small as possible, only containing those folders that contains the commands that you're going to be using. And you want to do the updates, again, when you really, really have to do that. So we're going to skip that option. The other option is that I can write the exact location of first time, the absolute path to it. Now, this file here, first time, is simply located into my PWD. So it's inside home, inside faculty, inside El-Janabi. So if I want to run it, I simply have to type home, faculty, El-Janab, / first time. Okay, that's what we have to do. I can guarantee you it's not going to work too. Okay, not recognized. And if I do this way, let me show you. There's another way to get the same results. First time, still not going to work. And I want you to look how, oh, wait a minute, this is more efficient. I think I missed to type the / here. So if I go back here and I put the /, let me run it. Because, yeah, no such a file or directory. I simply made a mistake here. So, okay, let's see here. Why is he complaining about this? Home, faculty, El-Janab, first time. Anyway, the right way to get a job done, just type it as following. Remember here, this is just because it's my home folder and this is the location of the file. So first time, it's going to tell me, this is the what I'm looking for here. Permission denied. And why is it permission denied? Because if I go type ls-l, and let me just type first time, so I can only see it. You can see here, I don't have permission to execute it, and the group doesn't have permission to execute it, and others, they don't have permission to execute it. So if I want to actually give myself permission to execute it, chmod, and I will say user +x, and then I'll say first time. And now if I go and type you'll see now I have the permission to execute it. And immediately after you have the permission to execute and the file is executable, you notice that the color has been changed. Now, if I clear, let's go ahead and try to run it. And here we go. Now it's executable. So this is again the date. This is the who command, which simply shows me the users. And this here is my PW, my home directory. This tells me that how many of you guys are actually logged in at this time. Anyway, so this is again how we simply write a very, very simple scripting file. And how do we run it? So if I want to summarize, number one, let me go back. Cat first time. Now I have to admit the name doesn't make that much of sense, but again, it's just a name that I chose. Your file must start with this line here. Okay. And this is again how we tell the shell that you have to use the bash. And then you have to use bash again to execute these lines. And where's the location of bash? It's inside a folder called bin. This here is a comment, documentation, explanation. And this part here is the commands that you just typed. And they're simply going to be executed and they're going to be shown on the screen when you run the script. Now, again, to run the script, you have to change the permission because, again, it's denied by the user. Now, you also is denied to run it. If you try to run it from your side, you will not be able to run it. Let me just try to see if I can run it. If I go all the way out, so if I go to, I should just type cd. So here we go. I'm outside of my. So if I go ls, this is the this is the root directory. Okay, so let's see if I can actually go and run it from here. Let's see if I can get out of here. Nope, that's it. So I will just go and start by typing home, faculty, the Janab, and then I'll type my first time. And it worked, but it didn't show me my PWD because I'm outside of that file. Anyway, so yeah, you're gonna have to type the absolute path to be able to run that thing, run the script file. So here we go. Let's go ahead. Let's change directory back to my file. So now I'm in my home directory, and here again, let me just try to show you this. First time again, there's no such command. So you're gonna have to show me the absolute path. First time, and now it's working. Okay, so this is again, I highly recommend that you try it yourself, create a file, change the permission, and then after that, create a file, manipulate it, write some commands, and try to run it by your side. And that's, again, the first part of this chapter is how do we write a script file and how do we run it? And it's obviously here really, really simple, not that complicated. Before I continue, is there any questions? Are there any questions? Okay, so I'm guessing we're...
Yeah,
Yes.
I type same like you, and how to go back terminal. Like I type my name and March 6 like your JCC and date, who,
Okay.
and yeah, after that how's going back like same screen.
So you're telling me you typed this in your file
Yeah, I did.
and you saved it?
How to save it? Just in
Oh, how do you
Google,
save it? Okay, let me show you here.
please.
Vim first time. So this is the file, right?
Yeah. I did
Okay.
this one.
You press colon and then WQ.
Press colon. Which one?
Okay, here, let me go back. Colon, and then WQ. Do you see what's going on at the bottom left side? There is no mouse. I cannot point at it. But if you look at the window that I'm sharing with you,
Mhm.
look at the bottom to the left.
Okay.
Column WQ.
Oh, that's a something different.
And enter after that, and it should be saved. Okay, so let's keep going. Did you get it done? Let's see. Okay, I'm guessing that we are all on the same page. So let me go ahead here and clear my screen, and let's start playing with that script file that I just created. If I go back to my file, where's the VIM? And let's see here. Let's say we want to show a message on the screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the insert mode, and I'm going to go here at the top, and I'm going to type echo. And then echo simply will give you a chance to print whatever you want to print on the screen. Now, again, you can just start typing whatever you want to type. I highly recommend to go and use a double quotation between the text that you want to print. So I'll just say this, okay, the date of today is, and I'll keep it this way. And let me take let's keep it simple. Echo, and I'll say the home directory of the current user is, and I'll put a space, and this is me just printing a message on the screen. Those print again, let me just show you what's going to look after I finish this. QW or WQ. And now if I try to run it, and look what's just happened. The date of today is, and you see the date and the time, and then the home directory of the current user is, as you can see here. Okay, so again, Echo simply will give you a choice to print anything you want on the screen. But at this point, before we get into the details, you should know that whenever you have anything you want to show on the screen, it's a good idea to show a message to the user before you show me that piece of information. So for example, if I don't have this echo message, and if I don't have this echo message as well printed on screen, it will take some time for me to understand what's printed on the screen. I know it's Wednesday, March 6th time, and I'm going to have to do some processing in my head to realize, oh, this is today, date and time. And when I'm going to see this home directory, it's really hard for me to know what it is exactly. But again, this message here makes understanding the output of the command much easier. So whenever you want to, whatever your command is printing anything on the screen, it's a good idea to start with an echo message to explain what's about to be printed on the screen. So that's one of the benefits of using echo. Now, also, we should know something about echo, that if I want the results of date and the results of PWD to be printed next to the echo message. The echo message, by the way, by the time you get to the end of it, it will go to the new line, the next line. But if I want the date to be printed immediately after that, I just have to come here and put -n. Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be in the insert mode. So let's go ahead and do that. Go here, -n, and do the same thing here, -n. Now look what's going to happen if I save my work. And if I run it, look at it. the date of today is, and it's showing you next to it, the home directory of the current user is, and what you see here. Let me go back and talk about this again. Now, let's say I want to echo a message on the screen. So echo, and I'll just say here, he said, and then after that, I want to put double quotations surrounding whatever he said. This is Sparta. Okay. Now, this is going to lead to some problems because I started with a double quotation here and I ended up with a double quotation here. So when you're going to type it this way, Linux is going to consider this is the beginning and this is the end. And when it's going to see the end, it's going to get confused about what you see after that. So there's multiple ways to answer and fix this problem. First solution is simply to surround your word with single quotations. And you can see how the color code is showing you that this here is yellow and this one is yellow, but the double quotations are simply considered just like part of the string. This is going to work. But again, it's not recommended to do that. The best way to get the job done is simply by using the backslash here or the forward slash and the forward slash here to give the shell that this is a very special character. So show me the double quotation and show me the double quotation. Okay. Now let me just go ahead and save my work so I can show you the results and the effect of that. So WQ. And now let's go ahead and run it. And you can see here, he said, this is Sparta surrounded by double quotations. So this is just something that, again, it's an option that you have whenever you're going to type something and you know that you're going to use double quotation. It's recommended. Again, as I said, there are multiple ways to get anything printed on the screen. It's recommended to surround whatever you want it to be printed on the screen with double quotations. And then if you want to see an actual double quotation printed on the screen, then you have to put the forward slash. Now, I want to ask you guys a question. Have you guys noticed how the color code is working for this text? Like, it's not just a background with the fixed one color text, but you can see here that the echo has a color, the command, the PW has a color, the date has a different color, the text comes with a different color. Now, this is not, by the way, the default situation. Okay, this is not the, but the server that we are using right now, we have this feature enabled in the Vim, so it will use the color code when it's going to be showing you the text. The color code here is extremely important because it could bring your attention to some issues. Now, here's the thing. I know this is a string that's supposed to be printed, and because it's a string, it has this color that you see here. But again, if I'm typing and I know that something needs to be printed as in a form of a string, but the color is not pink, you should know that there's something wrong. So the color code is very, very important. Now, if, let's say, again, since we are all using this server, so it's already enabled, but let's say you're working on a server at home, your own Linux operating system, to be able to enable this feature, I'm just going to go and show you a piece of information that will help you to get it done. Now, I know we all use the same server, so you don't have to worry about it. In the future, in case you find yourself dealing with this. Here it is, turning the syntax highlights. This part here that is in the PowerPoint is showing you the command that you have to type for the Nano and for the Vim. Well, I'm going to go and check the Nano and see if I can actually, I don't want to waste time here. But again, for the Vim, :syntax on, and simply is going to turn that feature on in your Nano. So let's go back to Linux. And here we go. This is my file, and this is how it works. Now, remember here, if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, now, what if we have a problem? What if I'm not following the rules when I'm typing those commands? How do we actually get to those errors? How do we fix them? Well, before we get to that point, let me make sure that because there is something I'm pretty sure. I'm just trying to look at the PowerPoint to make sure that I'm not missing and jumping over anything. So we talked about the echo issues with the double quotations or single quotations and how could it be fixed. Okay, now we're going to move on into something different. Variables. Now, variables are very, very important. And we talked about variables and we said in Linux, we have environment variables that we can have access to. And the question is, what if I want to have access to those environment variables inside my script? Well, it's very easy, very simple. Let's go ahead and go to the insert mode. And let's go to the bottom. And let's try to have access to those variables. So imagine we want to print, let's say, who is the current user or information of the, let's say I want to print the user ID printed. I want to have, again, the user name, the user ID, and the user home directory. Okay. Now, all these pieces of information are stored as an environment variable, and we do know what they are. And if I want to print them on the screen, this is how we do it. So we start with echo. And then you want to type a message on the screen. They'll say this, for example, is the user name. And here is what we do here. At the place where you want it to be printing the username, you can have access to that environment variable, which is, again, simply user. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with the user ID. User ID is, let's just go to the home. Let's go back here. The username, or this is called just username. User ID. And again, $, always remember UID. That's another. And then echo user home directory $home. And look at the color code again, how whenever you try to have access to an environment variable using the $, how the colors simply change. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now remember here, there's a big difference between PWD, which is a command, and this is environment variable. So let's go ahead and save our work. WQ, press enter. Let's go ahead and try to run it. And here it is. Look at this. Username, AL Janab. User ID, this is my ID, and this is my home directory. So simply, you can have access to those environment variables, and you can print them just like that. Just make sure that, again, you know the name of the user, the environment variable, and always have to start with the $. Now, the question is, what if I want to actually show the $? Because, again, the $sign is a very, very special character in Bash scripting. So let me show you. If I want to say, let's go back to the insert, echo. I have, let's say, $355. Now, this is going to lead to a problem because there is a $, then immediately the Bash will think that, oh, you're trying to have access to a variable. And then it's going to look for something like that. So probably it's simply going to print nothing. see here. Okay, simply going to print nothing. So if I want to see the actual dollar sign printed, all I have to do, just like how I used this forward slash to be able to print the double quotation, dollar signs are also treated the same way. Okay, so that's very, very important to understand when it comes to the dollar sign and if you want to use it. Okay, let me save my work. W, and let me give it a run. And you can see here, it's printing it, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do at this point, before I jump into other variables and how do we use them, I just want to get to one important point, and I'm going to give you guys a break for, let's say, 10 minutes, and we'll continue after that. But there is a way to check our work. Okay. It's coming next, but I would really like to try that right now before we jump into that part. There is a command available in Bash that will check the script for you, and it's going to give you a sort of report about the script that you just wrote. And that command is called shell check. So if I type shell check, and I will call it first time, and he simply tell me there is nothing wrong with my file. But if there is a problem, if there is a mistake, you will see you will see a report, and that report is going to have a color code of red. Red simply means that there's an error. If there is a message with the yellow text, that simply means this is a warning. And a warning simply means that it's going to work, but it's not the best way to get it done. And sometimes it's going to give you a message in a green text color, and it's going to tell you that there is a way, and it's going to suggest the way to you about how you can actually fix or make your script much better. So shell check here again, it's a good tool for what we call debugging, and debugging simply means looking for errors. Let me just go and give this a try. If I go and try to make an error, and what I'm going to do here, for example, I'm going to change this O, sorry, insert. I'm going to take this O, the last one, and replace it with 0. So let's go ahead and skip WQ. Oh, what just happened here? WQ. Uh-oh, what just happened here? First time, no. WQ. WQ. Oh my God, what's going on here? Where's this coming from? I don't want to disconnect. Looks like he went to the history. And this is not what I want. Okay, thank God. WQ. Okay, let me just make sure that my work was saved. First time. Okay, do you see the echo that I have at the bottom, which is 0? Let's go ahead and do a check. Oh, come on. You didn't recognize that? Shell check. Yeah, it should tell me a report. I tried it like the other day, and it was able to tell me that I made a mistake. Okay. Let me try to run it. And you can see here, he simply was able to run everything until he got to the point of the echo 0, and he said, I couldn't find it, which is okay. Well, the shell check, it should work. but it's not for some reason. I'm gonna have to go and double check on that because I can guarantee you that the other day I tried it and it worked with no problem. So let me go ahead and fix the problem. Insert echo. Let's save it. WQ, and let me run it again. And here it is. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a break for 15 minutes. And then when we come, we're going to be talking about other variables. So far here, I showed you environment variable and how do we use them? Where are they? Here it is. This is environment variable. This is environment variable. And this is environment variable. We're going to create our own variables, and we're going to see how do we have access to them. And then we're going to talk about how do we actually use those variables to process information. So I'll be back at 7:30. Let me stop sharing and let me pause.